Steve, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, stand by.
Welcome, everybody. I'd like to call the November 19th, 2025 regular Planning Commission meeting to order. Can I please have confirmation and roll call, please?
Yes, thank you. The agenda was posted in accordance with Nevada open meeting law. Chairman Fritz McDonald is absent from the meeting, and we have member Steve Rudd on the telephone.
Thank you. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, Our first item is public comment. Public comment during this time must pertain to items on the agenda. You have up to 3 minutes to speak. I will now open the public comment period. You may also call in to 702-589-9629. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close the public comment period. Agenda item number 1 is approval of the minutes of the October 15, 2025 regular meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion to approve? I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is matters pertaining to approximately 0.34 acres located at 804 Nevada Way. Nikisha?
Good evening. Thank you, Vice Chair Crum, members of the commission. So Nikisha Lyon, City Planner with the Community Development Department. So item number 2 is for consideration of a variance application as it relates to parking requirements for 804 Nevada Way. As shown on the screen, the property is located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Elm Street and Nevada Way. Subject property is zoned C2, General Commercial Zone, and it is not located within the Historic District. The property owner, Flamingo Inn LLC, and that's corrected for the record and what is noted on page 13 of the agenda packet, they plan to redevelop the existing one-story motel and parking area into a mixed-use commercial center featuring a cafe and bar, restaurant, commissary kitchen, a caretaker's residence, and micro retail suites, which is outlined on the screen. The applicant would like to convert the existing parking area into an outdoor courtyard for community events and develop a one-way pull-through driveway and loading zone for food trailers. And the rendering for what that would possibly look like is also shown on the screen. In order to redevelop the subject property as desired, the applicant is requesting a variance in order to deviate from the quantity of parking spaces needed and placement of those spaces. So based on the proposed uses as well as administrative relief that is allowed within city code, a total of 19 parking spaces are required and must be located on the same lot or parcel or on an adjoining lot or parcel as the structure or uses that it's intended to serve. City code also states that a caretaker's residence shall be provided with one on-site parking space in addition to the parking spaces required for the business. So for more information regarding the parking calculations, that is outlined on page 14, and I also have it available on the screen. So the applicant is seeking approval to reduce the required parking spaces provided on site from the 19 to 1 space. That 1 space will be an ADA compliant parking space. In support of this reduction in their request, the applicant is providing a total of 35 off-street parking spaces through a combination of 4 shared parking agreements on existing properties within the general vicinity of the property. These properties are located within 92 feet to 444 feet of the site, and this includes the Dick Blair Office Complex and the Sands Motel, which is located to the south across the street. Boulder City Inn to the east, and as well as the El Rancho Motel that's to the east a little further down, so that you can see that on the screen, just a conceptual kind of layout of where the parking would be coming from. This is also included on page 15, a table, and then in the exhibits. The intent of a shared parking agreement is to allow for 2 or more property owners with different parking demands to use the same parking spaces for land use efficiency. The types of uses occurring on the other properties providing the shared parking include a motel, hotel, offices, and retail. So the applicant states that the peak hours of operations between the existing businesses and their proposed uses do not generally overlap. Therefore, parking conflicts will not occur and will allow for the necessary parking spaces to be provided as needed. The applicant indicates that the 3 motel parking lots are mostly void of vehicles between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., so they will be leasing a combination of 20 parking spaces from those properties. The Dick Blair complex, Their parking lot is usually busiest during normal business hours, but rarely has more than 1/3 of the parking spaces full, and generally becomes void of vehicles after 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. This office complex is only used by one business on the weekends, which has limited hours of operations during that time period, and they will be leasing about 15 parking spaces from this site. So as the proposed redevelopment does not meet the parking requirements, a variance application must be considered and approved by the Planning Commission prior to review and approval of a building permit associated with this commercial redevelopment project. City Code sets forth the criteria that must be met in order for a variance to be granted, and findings must be provided for all 5 criteria for the variance to be approved, as failure to meet any one of the criterion is sufficient reason for denial of this variance. So a detailed overview of the applicant's justification and staff's analysis based on the criteria, this is provided starting on page 16 of the agenda packet. So to summarize, as it pertains to criterion A, the applicant states that the property lacks sufficient space to accommodate the required parking spaces in an outdoor community courtyard. They note that some downtown businesses have outdoor courtyard spaces and operate without on-site parking because they are located in the central business district, where public parking is provided and on-site parking is not required. So the applicant's justification states that expanding parking would require major demolition, and the site's historic layout creates a unique hardship for them. From staff's analysis, parking requirements apply to the subject property in the same manner as other commercially zoned properties within this vicinity and the C2 zoning district outside of the central business district. The site currently has about 17 parking spaces, and the proposed change in uses would require 2 additional parking spaces to meet city code. The property is not located within the central business district, which does not require, again, any additional on-site parking for new, expanded, or existing buildings. However, the central business district does prohibit reducing existing parking. As it pertains to criterion B, the applicant states that their request is similar to other variances previously granted to nearby properties and based on similar circumstances. They note that many of the developed properties that are along this corridor were built in the 1940s to 1970s, when the city's population was much less than it is now, and parking regulations were less strict or potentially not regulated. From staff's analysis, the right to develop an outdoor courtyard, that's not denied to the subject property in question, as parking requirements must be met to ensure that they have the vehicular spaces to serve the proposed uses. The amount of outdoor courtyard space that the applicant could develop is just reduced, or it would impact another component of their proposed redevelopment. So to comply, the applicant would need to redesign their site plan, reducing the courtyard size or reconfiguring the existing parking area so they can accommodate the required parking instead of using the entire area for an outdoor courtyard space. For this area along Nevada Way, there have been other parking variances granted or denied by the Planning Commission, and this is detailed on a table that starts on page 20 of the agenda packet. As it pertains to criterion C, the applicant states and staff affirms that granting of the variance will not be materially detrimental to the public, property, or other improvements in the vicinity and zone. City staff has reviewed the variance, and we don't have any comments or revisions at this time. The only comment provided was from Public Works, indicating that the proposed one-way drive would need to be narrowed in order to comply with Clark County standards. As it pertains to criterion D and E, the applicant states and staff affirms that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect or be contrary to the city's comprehensive plan. An allowance of the requested variance would not set a precedent, as this variance is specific to the particular conditions of the subject property in question. So based on this information and staff's review, 2 options are offered to the commission regarding the requested variance. That begins on page 18 of the agenda packet. So this is to either conditionally approve or deny the variance request, finding that either all criteria are met for conditional approval or criterions A and B are not met for denial of the request. In regards to approving a variance, the commission has the option to approve the request in whole or in part and may associate conditions or modifications to the request. The variance has been noticed in accordance with city code. We have received, as of now, 3 written public comments, all expressing support in regards to this application. So the request before the commission tonight is to conduct the public hearing and consider the variance and make a motion to either conditionally approve or deny the request based on staff's findings. Staff, we are available for any questions the commission may have. And then the applicant and property owners are in attendance tonight and they can answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikisha. Before we open it up for questions or comments, does the applicant have anything they would like to add?
Hi, I'm Aaron Meadow. Thank you for hearing this argument, and thank you for presenting it, Keisha. I just want, you probably all know and are familiar with the property. The property has exchanged hands numerous times, and at various reasons it failed. Ultimately, there's just a lot of complex issues with the property, trying to maintain its footprint and trying to do something that's actually going to be profitable, because at the end of the day, if it's not profitable and doesn't make the investor money, it's going to go away. So I know that shouldn't be the sole reason that you guys accept something, but I also think it has a unique attribute to the community, and it expands a walkable premise that we're trying to achieve in Boulder. You know, we want people in downtown, but we want them to start walking a little bit farther out of town and experience something different. And I think this is an additional draw that can bring people down to experience something different. So I want you all to really consider it. I know that going all the way down to just one ADA parking spot may be a little bit shocking. However, this was an expensive property and there was limited uses that were able to be done with it. And really, this is the only tangible means to hopefully generate some type of cash and have it stay there for the next, 10, 20 years.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you.
I'll bring it back to, come on up.
Hi, Planning Commission. Bryn Delormier, and I didn't have an intro planned, so pardon me, but I just wanted to introduce myself and state a little bit more about this property. I guess the Flamingo Inn has been abandoned since 2012, and one thing about this corridor, the Motel Sign District, I don't know how many of you, maybe you're not familiar with my history with it whatsoever. If any of you watch the Historic Preservation Commission meetings, I know Nikisha's familiar with this. Before I ever got involved with this property, which was around June of this year, I actually submitted a request to the Historic Preservation Commission back in January that they consider the entire Motel Sign District from the El Rancho all the way to the Nevada Inn, to consider researching that for its own historic district. And that's just because I appreciate the that style of architecture, those signs, and I really hope it's an area that they can preserve. Like once you cross under that.
Bryn, I apologize for interrupting, but if you could just keep your comments specific to your project, that would be great.
Yeah. So I got involved with this one when we started making the plans for it. We realized, as Aaron said, there's really no way to do it with this property without making the courtyard into something that we're able to monetize to. It's a difficult property. You've probably, I don't know how long you've been on the commission, but I don't know if you've heard previous applicants state the same before you. It's a difficult property. It's an expensive property. There's not a whole lot that can be done with it. The other motels in the area, they're already struggling to have guests, to fill up their properties, to have guests. So when we purchased it, we looked at other things that we could do with it. This is one of the only things we could think to do. And so the courtyard is a really important component of it when we were looking at ways that we could save in historic buildings. So that's really, it's really what I'm hoping to convey in my on-the-fly intro speech. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bryn. I'll bring it back to the commission for any questions of staff or the applicant.
I have a question for staff. With the micro retail, I just need clarification. This says, one space for every 300 square feet of gross floor area, but in no case shall be less than 3 spaces provided for each establishment. There's 10 retail establishments going to be in there.
So we're counting the whole, sorry, that was really loud. We're counting the whole property as one establishment.
Okay. Because with 10 retail businesses, you're going to have an owner and possibly an employee before you even get a customer. So that's two vehicles that are going to be on that premises. So, thank you.
Any other questions or for staff or the applicant?
I have a comment. I need to ask anybody if they've actually really looked at the parking across the street. Yeah, I understand it's only 92 feet across the street to the Dick Blair. And then, what is it, 100 and something to the Sands? But the problem is, it really isn't, because they're either going to have to go clear down to the corner and back around. So it's over 400 feet, to be honest with you. And that's a blind corner, and it's not 15 mile an hour like down here on the main street. And on the main street, people park, and they're not going to go clear to the end of the street. They're going to walk right across the street. So I think you got a parking issue. If it was all on the same side of the street, I think it'd be a different deal. But I think that's a public safety issue right there. You got 20 parking spaces across the street, and they're going to beeline across the street. They're not going to walk down to either corner. So that's my issue with it.
I have a question, Nikisha. The parking agreement, was it always in effect, or did the applicant seek this out for their specific project? Were these parking agreements already kind of in effect with each other?
So the applicant specifically sought this out in support of their variance application.
Okay, I'm going to reserve my comments for after the public hearing. But does anybody else have anything to say before we open the public hearing?
I guess I have a question for the applicant. How are customers going to know where these parking spaces are? How are they going to know that those are available for them to park for that particular business?
There's been other establishments that have posted signs, but we would be open to deferring to what you guys feel comfortable with.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'll now open the public hearing on this application for variance 25-690. You can also call in at 702-589-9629. Thank you.
Dan, it looks like they're deliberating.
No,
Hello?
we just opened up the public hearing. Do you have comment?
Yeah, I have a comment. My name is Michael Delormier, and I live in Boulder City. And I just wanted to call in to support the Flamingo Inn turning its parking lot into a garden courtyard. I think that'll be really nice. It'll be a nice place to hang out and meet friends and spend money on the restaurants and shops there. And also, I live on Avenue F, and it's in walking distance from me, so I prefer to walk there than drive and park. And I also know that Bryn is a great gardener, and that her xeriscaped house garden is really nice. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for taking my comment.
Thank you.
Any other comments during our public hearing? Okay, thank you.
Public hearing may help you.
Yes, I'm calling in for public comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. For the record, Fred Volz. I would like to strongly support the variance granting for this project under number 2 on your agenda tonight. I think anything we can do to support new business formation in Boulder City, where we have a very high vacancy rate in commercial spaces, is helpful. The solution with going to 4 separate parking lots may not be ideal, but it works, and it provides the necessary parking. Moreover, the area that will be turned into a courtyard really was not a viable parking situation for today's vehicle size. So better that the vehicles are in true parking lots instead. I would also say that to address the concern that was raised during the Commission's discussion, there could easily be a crosswalk created directly from the Dick Blair complex to the building to solve that issue. Thank you.
Is there anybody else on the line? No. Thank you. Any other comments during this public hearing? Come on up.
This is very difficult for me because I love to have something happen next door to us. I'm Tyson Smith. I own the building at 900 Nevada Way right next door to them. My only problem with this is you are destroying your parking lot and expecting others to use their parking lot. And I don't like that idea. I wish you'd keep your own parking lot, and I wouldn't have a problem with overflow at that point. But I think to take a business, and especially where, as you mentioned, it could be micro businesses, we don't know what they're going to be. You know, if it's going to be a booming coffee shop that ends up in there, which we hope happens, or a donut shop or whatever it is that ends up being in there, we love to have it, but we want parking. To have people guess where they're supposed to park when there's really no parking at all for the business, it makes me a little concerned as a neighboring business that has parking. We do need our parking lot. Our parking lot's random. I have been in that area since 2010. Before that, I was in Dick Blair Plaza, and we had issues in Dick Blair Plaza with parking all the time. And it was more back when we had the restaurant right next door to us. Back then, it was Little City Grill, the Frosty Freeze. A lot of those customers would park in our parking lot, and then we'd have customers that couldn't find parking. That would be my only concern, is I wish you would design this to have her own parking and get rid of the courtyard and still use the building as a business. I know it's difficult. That's a tough building. I talked to Darren about it when he was trying to do it too. Like I said, it's just a very tough building that we have to work with right there, and very limited parking in that whole part of town. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyson. Any other comments? Seeing and hearing none, I will close the public hearing. My comments are, I love the project. I think the renderings are beautiful. I'm very, very familiar with the property. It's a very ambitious project because I'm well aware of some of the challenges. We had a joint meeting with the council and the planning commission back in June regarding the zoning code and this parking requirement in the downtown area. And although this project is not in the central business district where the parking requirements aren't as strict, it should be, because it's certainly walkable. Our town, I think the parking requirements along the corridor are outdated. I think they should be extended down to the end, at Buchanan and Nevada Way. That's just my opinion. But that building has been an eyesore for many, many years. I think if somebody's able to do this, there's plenty of parking lots where people can park. People ride their bike, we walk, there's people all over the streets. There's nothing better than seeing outdoor activities where we have beautiful weather 10 months out of the year. I have no problem with the parking variance whatsoever, and regardless of how it goes tonight, if it passes, I really wish you guys the best of luck. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Matt.
I just wanted to comment that that particular property has been kind of blighted for years, and especially since the chain link fence was put up, it's ugly, it's an eyesore, and I think this project, if it's successful, which I don't see any reason it wouldn't be, it could really help revitalize that area of town. I'd love to see the old Little City Grill back in business. So anyway, I'm speaking in favor of it.
Commissioner Rudd, do you have any comments or questions?
I do not.
Thank you. Anybody else? I will open it up for a motion. I'll move to approve, or I'll move to conditionally approve variance 25-690.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed?
Nay.
So we have 4 in favor and 2 nays. Motion passes. Thank you. Good luck to you guys. Our third item is the monthly progress report on development allotments.
So just an update, so the city council did approve the allotment application for Track 350 that was recently in front of the planning commission. So that approval occurred on October 28th. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikisha. And our final public comment, I will open it up. You can also call in at 702-589-9629. Hearing and seeing none, meeting adjourned.
I was going to say, you were 7 minutes off. What's that? He said we'll be done in 20 minutes. That's pretty close. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, good luck. Our record was 16 minutes. Was it? I'm excited for this. I can't wait to see it.